So, on a side note, another thing I wonder about the power of God. You know, you see prophets and they do this and they do that and say that's powerful.
Yes, sir.
You know, I'm like, oh, somebody doing miracles, oh, that's powerful.
Yes.
But I remember God showing me and brought it back to my remembrance just a couple days ago. He said it was powerful to being able to forgive somebody.
Amen. Yes. Yes.
Having a heart full of forgiveness, now that's a powerful thing. So that's something God got to do.
That's right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Especially when you're hurt in a way where you can tell yourself, I got every right to be mad.
Yes, sir.
I got every right to be mad.
Yes, sir.
But the power of God, when you're able to let go and humble yourself, and God able to give you a forgiving heart, that's the power of Jesus Christ.
Yes, sir.
That's powerful. The word is praise. But even there, they don't stop at the water. God is faithfulness. He don't want to just quench their thirst, but He want to fill their body.
Yes, sir.
That's how God want to satisfy us too. So He brings down man from heaven. They don't got to worry about nothing.
That's
You
right.
wake up in the morning, you're going to eat.
That's
It's
right.
going to last you.
That's right.
You don't got to worry about where it's coming from, because it's coming from the same source you've been coming from.
That's right.
God is blessing His people with food.
Yes, sir.
Provision. It's been there. But somewhere down the line, whether it's ungratefulness or whatever it was, people started complaining again.
That's right.
They want meat.
That's right.
They want something different. They want something more. It's not enough.
That's right.
It's never going to be enough if you never get a heart of gratefulness. You're always going to be wanting.
That's
If you
right.
can't be thankful about certain things you already had, or the things that God had already been upon your life, so they asked for some meat. Now I believe that Moses about to let people know that they was going to get some meat. And then further do they go, we going to get some meat. How is He going to tell them to do that? How is He going to work that out?
That's right. That's right.
Or that might have been Jesus' own disciples that was talking like that too. When He was feeding the multitude. They thought He was going to buy something. I don't know about the people with Moses. I don't know how they thought he was going to provide for them, but He ended up giving them meat.
That's right. Yes, sir. Thank you, Lord.
So they complain,
Yes, yes, yes,
they test God, complain to God, testing God. God showing that He is who He is.
yes, sir.
But they keep on erring. They keep on erring. Now, I'm not sure if it was another complaint they had again, but I can just imagine that they wasn't learning their lesson. So let's say that all of a sudden they wanted a house. Oh God, we don't got no head over, we don't got no roof over our shoulder now. Now you want a roof over their shoulder. Over their head. We've been wandering for 40 years. And we ain't got nothing to call our own. I don't got nothing to call my own. I've been walking with you for 40 years.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Continuing in error.
Thank you, Lord. Verse.
And this is why they err in their heart. Because you would think. And God's talking about this place of rest. Now we'll go to the 4th chapter.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Lord.
Hebrews, the 4th chapter.
Thank you.
And starting back in that 19th verse says, so we see that they could not enter because of unbelief.
Yes, sir.
Because God swore that these people would not enter into rest. And it was because of their unbelief. It started at the 4th chapter and the 1st verse. The word of the Lord reads, let us therefore fear, lest the promise being left us of entering into His rest, any of you should seem to come short of it. For unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto them. But the word preached did not profit them,
Yes, sir.
not being mixed with faith in them that heard it. Somebody say, not being mixed with faith.
Not being mixed with faith.
Not being mixed with faith. Now, the Bible tells us to walk by faith and not by sight.
Amen.
And they kept looking and complaining about their circumstances. And since they had faith to believe and faith to trust, that negative attitude raised according unto their natural circumstances, except for a godly manner, according to the faithfulness of God. For the third verse, it reads, For we which have believed do enter into rest, as it said, As thou hast sworn in my wrath, and they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished from the foundation of the world. For he spake in a certain place on the seventh day on this wise, and God did rest the seventh day from all his works. Amen. And in this place again, if they shall enter into my rest. Seeing therefore it remaineth that some must, enter therein, and they to whom it was first preached, enter not in because of unbelief. Again, somebody say again.
Again.
He limiteth a certain day, saying in David, Today, after so long a time, as it is said, Today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts.
That's right.
And the King James Version says Jesus, that was another translation of Joshua, so I'm going to use the translation of the right word. And the 8th verse says, For if Joshua had given them rest, then will he not afterward have spoken of another day? There remaineth therefore a rest to the people of God. Now get this. For he that is entered into his rest, he also has ceased from his own works, as God did from his.
That's right.
Let us labor, therefore, to enter into that rest,
Yes.
lest any man fall after the same example of unbelief. So in that 8th verse, was saying that Joshua was trying to bring the same Israelites into the promised land. Amen. So it didn't just stop with Moses in 40 years. People continued to err. So David had to come along and try to bring the people into rest again.
Yes.
The people continue to err. And even in this day, saying today, is still folks in here that must enter into his rest. And it's no coincidence that Pastor Paul has been preaching these messages about letting go of our own doing, how we think things should be done, and trusting in God and how he says that we have to do. And it was a brother the other day at the prayer conference, and he talked about trusting God, and he was saying how your trust meter is really based on how quickly God give you the command and it turns into action.
Yes, sir.
And he's letting you know how God will tell you something, and then we'll be just like the children of Israelites, and we'll try to reason within ourselves.
That's right.
And I don't think it's no coincidence, Pastor, that the Pharisees always reason with themselves when Jesus was talking to them too. They were doubting God.
That's right. Amen. That's right.
So we'll reason within ourselves and try to figure out how it's going to work.
That's right.
If I do this and this will happen. Or we'll try to cross our T's and dot our I's instead of having that childlike faith
That's right.
to obey the word of our Father.
Amen.
You said do this. I know you're a good guy. I know you're my dad. You know what I'm saying? I know you're my father. I got to go ahead and do this. I don't got to worry about what's going to happen next. Because since you love me, since you're the one that's put over me, you're not going to do nothing that's not in my best interest.
That's right. That's right.
You know, that's the true Father.
Say that.
You know, that's the heavenly Father.
Yes.
I understand even while I'm speaking that everybody ain't had that Father.
That's right.
And even sometimes everybody ain't had that parent
That's right.
that has been led them for their benefit, not their own selfish benefit.
That's right. That's right.
Because you know that sometimes people that's above you, people that's supposed to have that watch over you, only want what's best for them sometimes.
That's right.
And not what's better for the individual.
That's right.
And it is sad. But we know that the Father is a help to the fatherless. And it's close to the needy.
Yes, sir.
And to the broken heart. And the contract spirit he'll never despise. So even if your circumstances, you might not be able to relate to the natural, it ain't no conspiracy. That pastor been talking about, we can't rely on the natural.
Amen.
We gotta rely on the spiritual. So as long as you got God your Father, the one that created you, the one that knew all about you before he fashioned you in your mother's womb, ain't no reason to fret. Ain't no reason to worry. Ain't no reason. I mean, it could be tough, but God don't want you standing in no pity party. You get that sorrow, you get that complaint, you give it to God. He will never let you down. He will show up in your life, and you'll be a testimony too.
Thank you.
So, these people didn't enter into this rest. But on this afternoon, this morning, we want to enter into rest. And we don't want to question God or try to put God in a box on how we're going to do this or how things are supposed to be run. If we can't look over our lives and be thankful and see the gracious hand of God, it's going to be hard for us to trust God and let go of our own agenda. So God can be magnified.
Yes.
So I admonish everybody this evening, this afternoon, excuse me,
Yes, sir.
that we would
Thank you.
look over our lives,
Thank you, Jesus.
all of our lives,
Thank you.
when we begin to understand the care of our Father.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And after we see His hand has been upon us for so long, after so long a time, today, this day, we will make it up in our minds that we would trust Him. With all that we got, we would trust Him and not ourselves. The Bible tells us that we should live not for ourselves, but for the one who died and rose for us. So if we no longer supposed to live for ourselves, why are we trying to trust in ourselves?
Yes, sir.
It's the same component.
That's right.
We don't live for ourselves, meaning we're not trusting ourselves. That's letting go. So I pray that we'll be obedient to the word.
Yes, sir.
And even if the situation arises, when we find our flesh trying to rise up, when we find our mind, our carnal mind, which is against the Spirit of God, having these perplexing thoughts, and viewing God in a manner that's not worthy of our calling, and not worthy of His faithfulness. And we will get on our knees,
Thank you, Lord.
repent,
Yes.
seek His face, cry out,
Thank you, Jesus.
do whatever we got to do until we understand it's going to be all right.
Amen.
Amen?
Amen.
Praise God, we thank God for that word this morning. It's an awesome word, praise God. And it's a true word, praise God. We have that natural tendency to put more trust in our natural being rather than our spiritual being. And that's not where the proof lies. Oh, come on, somebody. The proof lies in the pudding. And that is in our own lives, in our own life experiences. And recognizing the very fact that if it had not been for the Lord who was on our side, we wouldn't be here today. That's the truth, praise God. We understand that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And no man comes into the Father except through Him, praise God. So we thank God for the word that was delivered. We thank God for the vessel, praise God, that He has used this morning. We want to continue to decrease. Continue to increase in our lives. Amen?
Amen.
Let's all stand. We want to, and I'm learning this, praise God, to ask God after we have heard the words as we have heard today, to not to go back into that place of the old bondage, not to go back to that place of the old way of thinking, the old natural way of thinking, but that God would imprint this word upon our hearts, so that when the opportunity presents itself, and I already know it will, that we can react in a godly manner versus a natural manner. So we're going to bow our heads and just ask the Lord. Father God, we want to ask you to not allow this word to run down like water off a duck's back, but that you would imprint this word upon our hearts, so that we can dismiss the natural way that we used to do things. For the Bible says, therefore, if any man be in Christ, he's a new creature. All things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. We're asking, Lord God, that you would plant this newness into our spirits, so that we don't react in a natural manner, Father God, which we have tried time and time again, and found it to be error. To find it to be a restless place rather than a resting place. So we're asking you, Lord God, to pray upon our hearts, so that we can rest, this true rest that you have for us, that you have set aside for the men and the women of God, so that we can rest in you, Father. We want to thank you, Lord God, for this work. We want to thank you, Lord God, for all that you're doing in our lives. We're beginning to get a better understanding, not to allow the flesh, not allow the carnal mind, but allow the spiritual things of God. We thank you this morning, Father God, this afternoon for this work. We thank you, Lord God, how you have taken time to come and to confirm this word in our lives with infallible proofs that you are who you say you are, that you would do